Welcome. We're back. Bitcoin pulling back again, or dropping a lot again. Very rough things happened to Bitcoin once it broke that 42K level I was talking about last night on stream. That was the really important level that pretty much everybody was looking at. And that level broke. Then you had the 200-day moving average. You broke that, and as soon as you broke the 200-day moving average, you just didn't have any support left until about 30K. We talked about this last night on stream. And Bitcoin made its way all the way down to 30K much quicker than I thought it would. Pretty much happened in a few hours. It was very violent in the morning, and then it had a huge run back up all the way back to 40K. So it went from 40K to 30K, and then within another few hours went all the way back up. Now it's kind of come halfway back down, and you're just somewhere in the middle. So complete indecision on Bitcoin. If you're looking at high time frames, it's literally a coin flip. There's just not many variables to be talking about right now on Bitcoin on those high time frames. So, I mean, we'll see what happens with Bitcoin. I have no clue. At this point, you know, the trade did stop out. It was a 10% loss, give or take. And after the stop loss was around like around 39K. After the stop loss, Bitcoin dropped another 23%, which obviously helped quite a bit. That's why you use stop losses. And when I woke up in the morning, altcoins were down between like 30 to 40%. It was insane how horribly a lot of these coins dumped. So if you're a crypto trader, you had a really rough day. I'm really sorry to hear that. I mean, it definitely was a very tough day, especially in the morning. Maybe you flipped it around and you played the other side, the bounce. I mean, there were some coins that literally from their lows to their highs doubled. So it just depends on which side of the table you were at, but overall still in the red. From a technical standpoint, there's no longer any chance of getting classic bullish divergence on the daily. You are oversold on the daily. This is the first time you've been oversold on the daily since the COVID crash. So that's also another interesting thing. I think that was also a big reason why you had a very big push back upwards after you got down to 30K. You were just extremely oversold. It happened very quickly. On the 4-hour also, no divergence is possible for right now. If you're looking at the MACD, if you're looking at the RSI, classic bullish divergence is possible, but again, you're under the 200-day moving average. You're still under 42K, which was the important level, but you're above 30K, which is your next support. So it's like literally a 50-50. That's really all I have to say about Bitcoin right now. We're going to move on to stocks. If we get more of an edge on Bitcoin, we'll talk about it. But for right now, I'm just kind of hands off. I could see anything happening, but I'm not too sure which way the needle is going to point to in the short term. But yeah, let's move over to stocks. Futures are pretty flat overnight. We had a very rough open in the morning. And what happened on the indices and for the overall stock market, again, was super technical. Everything that's been going on recently since really last Wednesday has been a perfect technical. Every single move has been super technical. All of them have been not predicted, but implied based on technicals. And I'll walk you through them, but I'm just going to talk about today, and then I'm going to show you what I've been talking about for the past few days, where today, gapped down, you came all the way back down to a support. What happened at the support? You had a huge bounce off of it. So if you're in the Discord, the link's in the description. I shared that support with you. It was 405.42 on the SPY. Even before it got down there, I shared it in the trading chat. It was like right above it, and I said, I'm really watching this level to see if it can hold. I didn't know if it was going to hold, but thankfully it did. You tested it like a bunch of times. If you go over to low time frames, you tested it like 3 different times. Like, let me go all the way here. You can see on 3 consecutive 15-minute candles, you tested it. Every single time you bounced at it, and eventually you got the continued rally. You did have some volatility around 2 p.m., which is when the FOMC minutes came out, pulled back quite a bit, and then you just pumped in like the last 20 minutes of the day. So again, super technical. You never got to the gap fill on the S&P 500. You did fill the gap on the Nasdaq, and you also did not fill the gap on the Russell. So you still have pretty close gaps to the upside that can be filled very easily. But just going back to what I was talking about earlier, everything that's happened since last Wednesday has just been super easy. I mean, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of last week were very rough. Definitely caught me off guard. But then on Wednesday, it became a lot more clear to me. We were down to the support on Thursday. We gapped up. And the second I saw we had a good open on Thursday is when I flipped from neutral over to bullish. I put out a lot of trades on Thursday and Friday, and most of those trades are in profit right now. even though the market's had a red week so far. I saw a lot of opportunity. And again, on Thursday we started running. On Friday we ran even more. We got up to a resistance, which was also the golden retrace, and then we pulled back again. We showed bearish divergence on the 1 hour. If you're in the Discord, you know all these things. And then you pulled back, and then you gapped down today, went to a support, then you just ran up to the next resistance, and you pretty much closed right under resistance. So all these resistances and supports I've been showing you in the Discord on stream like I am right now, you've just been ping-ponging back and forth between them. Pretty much all the times you get to a support, you bounce. All the times you get to a resistance, you pull back. Until that trend breaks, that's just how I'm looking at the S&P. So again, like long term, I am still pretty neutral. Obviously, we're still in the bull market very, very well. But like, you know, you're at the top of the wedge. Historically, the last 4 times you were at the top of the wedge, you had to pull back to the bottom of the wedge. That's like more downside is easily still possible in the S&P 500, but we held today. We held an important level, which was 40.68, which was also pretty much the lowest from last week. You fell under a little bit, and on the daily, you kind of had a bullish hammer candle. So we have a bullish hammer candle with the gap to fill to the upside. Hidden bullish divergence is still possible, but it's not really developing for right now on the S&P 500. And yeah, that's really how I'm looking at it. As long as you're above 40.68 on the S&P 500, I'm chilling. I'm not worried about too much. I'm just going to trade the stocks that look good and that have been working out pretty well. So that's really how I'm looking at the market in terms of the S&P 500. You have a gap to fill, and let's move on to the Nasdaq. Another one, pretty similar situation. You filled downside gap, ran back up, filled the upside gap. Hidden bullish divergence is actually developing on the Nasdaq, which is great. I don't know why. Let's see. Super bright right now. All right, hopefully that's better. But hidden bullish divergence is a possibility on the Nasdaq. I hope that it confirms. We'll see what happens. But for right now, things are okay. That's the easiest way to put it. Yes, there was crazy volatility today, but again, it was very predictable volatility. I literally said last night on stream that I was thinking we were going to have a pretty back and forth day, which we did. It was a very red open, and then towards the close, we had a very big run. And if you just go on those low time frames, all the technicals have been playing out very, very well. Just keep it going. Russell, not too much to talk about. Had a crazy move off of a very technical level again last week, and then it pulled back, gap down today. Kind of underperformed compared to the S&P and the Nasdaq, which has actually been outperforming them the past few days leading up into today. And then yeah, let's just talk about the VIX. That had a nice move in the morning. It got over the 200-day moving average. It fell back under. Really not much of like a signal over here at this current time. You don't have any divergence or anything like that. You even have a gap to fill to the downside. So one thing to note going into tomorrow is you have a downside gap to fill on the VIX, and you have an upside gap to fill on the S&P. No, you already filled the, wait. Yeah, you filled the S&P. No, I'm sorry. You have an upside gap to fill on the S&P and on the Russell 2K, and you already filled the gap on the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq was the only one that, so basically all the indices gapped down in the morning. The only one that ran up enough to fill that gap was the Nasdaq. The S&P and the Russell and even the ARK ETF still have a gap to fill slightly higher. And then the VIX has a gap to fill slightly. It's technically a good thing. Just a little bit of probability. It's nothing insane, like you're not getting divergence or pattern or anything, but it's really all I can talk about right now. And then obviously the supports and the resistances, which I always talk about in the Discord. Watch those as well. US 10-year yields, they had a pop up around the FOMC minutes when the market was pulling back. Not too much from there, but you are back above 164, which is a pretty real level. I would definitely like to see us get back under 164. It was your support in 2016, in 2015. Might turn into your support again. I'd like to get back under it. The dollar, classic bullish divergence, is starting to develop again. It's actually back in the demand line, so this might not be good for equities if this starts moving up and it breaks out of this little short-term downtrend. Well, actually, it's in a long-term downtrend in the first place, but yeah, pretty interesting stuff. Do we have any important things or important news coming out tomorrow that I should know about? Let's see, future is pretty flat. Let's look at Finviz. Let's see how the different sectors did. Okay, so it looks like a lot of the selling was in kind of retail today. Retail had a lot of selling. Semiconductors did very well today. AMD had a very nice move off of some news. Software actually did well today as well. Banks and financials did not do well today. Anything else? Basic materials did not do well. And then kind of mixed for like the large cap tech stocks, Microsoft, Apple, Adobe, Oracle, pretty flat. Amazon also completely flat. Tesla pulling back even more, which is really interesting. I actually want to look at Tesla in a second here, but let's just look at the weekly sheet first. Pretty green, pretty much the opposite of what the market has been doing. So the trades are performing very, very well because a lot of these tickers were showing really bullish technicals at the end of last week, so I put out a bunch of trades on them, and we're kind of getting what I've been looking for. If you've been watching the stream, I've been talking about how these growth stocks have been looking good, but they keep dropping with the market. Now, a lot of them did drop with the market today, but they really held up well. You know, considering how much the market was down, especially in the morning, a lot of growth stocks were not down that much. They were only down like a couple percent. Whereas if you remember in the beginning of last week when the market was dropping, the growth stocks were getting demolished. They were down like 5 to 10%. So we're starting to see a lot of strength and growth. On Monday and Tuesday, growth stocks did super, super well, which is why most of these trades are green or just flat rather than red, which is what the S&P and the Nasdaq and the Russell are doing this week. They're all red. So we're starting to see that divergence between the major indices and growth stocks, which is what I've been hoping for. It's pretty interesting because while the major indices, the S&P and the Nasdaq and the Dow Jones were going crazy and going to all-time highs back in March and April, all these growth stocks were dumping. They were in a bear market. The EVs, the pot stocks, the SPACs, gambling stocks, all of those stocks were in a bear market for 2 months while the market was pushing higher. And now that the market's pushing lower, we're starting to see those same stocks that have been dumping for 2 months actually start breaking out of ranges and putting in nice moves to the upside, apart from today. But again, if you look at from like a percentage standpoint, they did hold themselves pretty well today, which is great to see. This is what I've been hoping for, and it's starting to come into fruition. Hopefully these trades can hit their targets. Fisker trade is up 21% since the entry. One trade did hit the target today, which is IPOE. We'll look at it. XPV is up 11%. These are all premium trades up like 7 to 10%. And then most of these are just kind of flat, pretty new trades. And then again, the crypto trades obviously got stopped out overnight. And yeah, that's pretty much the weekly sheet. Let's actually look at some tickers now. I'm going to look at the ongoing trades for like probably 10 minutes. And then after that, we'll do ticker requests. So yeah. Let's start off. THCB was the worst performing trade today, and it was only down 2%. So that just tells you how strong growth is doing for right now. This is a SPAC, so it just pulled back with the market. It held over 1044. You're still developing classic bullish divergence on the daily. The technicals still look good. Of course, it is lower than the entry now. It's pretty much the only ongoing trade that's in the red. So it's going to happen. On a red day, you're going to have something pull back 2%, can't complain. On the other hand, you're going to have something go up 2%, which was Fisker. So on a pretty red day in the market up until the end, Fisker held up very, very well. And finally, like you can't even argue it, we have broken out of that $12 level. We closed at $12.50. It was down a little bit after hours, but it's just beautiful. I mean, what happened to Fisker? Is it going to eventually rally? Do you not see the huge green candles on the chart? It's rallying right now. I mean, Fisker is doing very well. It's up 21% since the entry. Since the lows last week, Fisker is already up 30% from the bottom. So that's pretty good in my opinion. And again, you reversed right at the PCC of a bullish butterfly before any catalyst dropped. You reversed. You bounced. Classic bullish divergence was on the daily MACD and RSI. And on the 4-hour, can't be surprised that Fisker is up 21% since the entry. Everything was implying that it was going to go up and not down, and that's what it did. And obviously the catalyst did carry a lot of weight, but again, it's just that coincidence or cool scenario where every time these super bullish technicals start showing up, like they did right over here when I put out a trade, like they did right over here when I put out a trade, you have crazy runs up with catalysts. It's just perfect. And finally, you closed above 12.15. Yesterday, you were kind of just closing right at it, so it was hard to tell. But today, even with the red market, Fisker was able to hold its own and you got to clear a break above this level. You have another gap filled to the upside at 13 bucks, give or take 13.10. So that's probably going to get filled at some point. And if you're going to just zoom out, there is no resistance until the first target of this trade. So just look left, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. You broke over the 12 level. That was the resistance. Really between 11.68 to 12 was your resistance. It took you 2 days, but you broke over it. Of course, it could pull back just because it went up, 30% in a week. But even if it pulls back, you have supports to look at now. It's much more comfortable to be in this trade than it was a few days ago, which is great. And if this target hits, which again, there's no resistance until it, that would be awesome. 38% just for the first target, which is like right under that previous support, flipped into a resistance. And yeah, that's Fisker. Really good stuff today. Hopefully it can continue going, but don't be surprised if there is a pullback one of these days, just because it's been doing very, very well. Things are going to pull back. People are going to take some profits. Back holders are going to cut their losses. Pretty natural stuff. 3 right soldiers, kind of, but also kind of not. You'd like to see this candle body be right over here. Pretty much you want it like these two were definitely starting it, but then this one, really your open was lower because of the gap down. So that kind of messed it up, but you still have 3 really nice large bodied green candles right next to each other. So it's the same psychology, just not super textbook based on the open today. But yeah, that's Fisker. Hold above $12, amazing. Hold above 11.68, okay. As long as you're above those levels, we'll see if it can hit the target eventually. It could take quite a while, or not. We'll see. Next one, IPOE. Hit the first target of the trade. If you're in the Discord, if you follow me on Twitter, this was alerted to everybody on Friday. And in about 3 trading days, it's hit the first target for an 18% gain. So it got really close to the target yesterday, actually, and then it was like 1% away, and then it pulled back. And then today, despite the red market, it went up 4%, and it hit the first target of the trade. So if you were in this trade, congratulations on the first target hitting. Second target is 1860, which is just pretty much that candle high from April 8th. We'll see if that hits, but again, first target already hits, so your divergence is just getting started, which is a reason where you could see that second target. You also broke out of the supply line with a confirmed candle on the daily. So we'll see if it can keep going, but regardless, already a very good first target. HOFV green, like literally out of the trades, pretty much, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, pretty much about 10 trades. Well, only really 2 of them were down. And then about 6 of them were green today, and then 2 were just pretty much flat. So again, they held up really, really well despite the red market. The next one is HOFV. This trade's up 5%. I think I also alerted this on Friday. It pulled back in the morning, but then it had a nice rally in the afternoon. So the MACD still looks good. It's not really divergence because you made a higher low on the price and the MACD, but it still looks good. It's waning in negative momentum. HOFV still looking good. NVIDIA put in a very, very nice move today, bouncing off the demand line on the daily. It's never touched the 200-day moving average. My stop loss is just below the 200-day moving average. Hopefully it doesn't go that low, and hopefully it can just start going. But again, if you look at the 4-hour, you have the hidden bullish divergence that's already confirmed. You've bounced off of this 540 level twice now. I'd like to see this start moving and not just being at the entry. Same thing for LVS. It's still at the entry, just a flat trade, but again, in a red market, I'll take that. Still looks good, still have classic bullish divergence, still above the 200-day moving average and the support and the demand line. Not too much to talk about there. XPEV opened up red, went to green. This trade's up 10% or 11%. I alerted this last week. Good stuff. You're above 2680. Nothing's changed since when I covered it last night. IPGP is actually now up 7%. This was alerted like last Monday, so not the quickest mover. It's a pretty slow moving stock, but 7% in a week on a slower mover is pretty good. SPG still at the entry of the trade, is not doing anything, and then PGRE also really not doing anything. So that recaps everything from today. Futures just pulled back not a crazy amount, about 0.20%. They were flat when I started streaming, and now they're down 0.20%. Nasdaq futures are down 0.27%, 0.28%. So a little bit of a pullback there. And yeah, that recaps pretty much everything from today. You had a very ugly morning for stocks, and especially for Bitcoin. Then you got very, very nice bounces. And now, after hours, stock futures are down a little bit. And Bitcoin, it was actually a little bit lower earlier. It's starting to try and bounce a little bit here. A lot of indecision. A lot of indecision if you look at the market indices, if you look at Bitcoin, if you look at a lot of altcoins, it's not super clear from a technical trader standpoint on high time frames. However, if you look at growth stocks, a lot of them do have really bullish technicals, and hence why so many of the trades are up. You just, as a trader, Mitch Ray talks about this, you have to look at where the opportunity is. The clear opportunity is in growth stocks right now because they have been dumping for 2 months. They got super deep retraces. They showed major harmonics with bullish divergence at supports, and it's not a surprise that they're bouncing now. We've been talking about this for exactly a week at this point. And they're probably one of the best performing asset classes right now. Really, growth stocks and metals are the only two things I can think of that have been performing well in the past 5 days. Large cap stocks have not, industrial stocks have not, cryptos have not. I haven't really looked at material futures and stuff, but we can really quickly, and then we'll get into ticker requests in a second here. How can I look at lumber future? Random length lumber. See how lumber has been doing. Because lumber pumped pretty much this whole entire year. Even lumber has been pulling back in the past few days. I had a green day today, it was up 5%, but it's been pulling back. So growth stocks is kind of where it's at, unless you're trading metals, which also have been doing well. Come on. Gold. Look at this. So again, money is going to rotate, especially when the dollar is having inflation and people don't want to leave their money sitting in a savings account to lose value every single year. It's going to rotate somewhere. The money has to go somewhere. And if it's not going back to cash, it's going to go to a separate market. And what we've seen in the past 4 or 5 days, the money flow has been to metals, which I guess is a hedge against inflation. Also, the technicals on metals have been looking beautiful. And then growth stocks. So it's where the money flow is going. I'm happy because I'm in growth stocks. But of course, anything can change within a day. So that's why you always have to be aware of the situations, right? So that recaps everything I wanted to talk about today. Not going to be streaming tomorrow. Not even going to be streaming on Sunday. So maybe the next time I'm going to be streaming is next Monday. And again, I'm not even sure about Monday. So yeah, we're going to try and, look at as many takers as we can tonight because I'm not going to be streaming for almost a week probably. Next week, either, I don't know yet. Either I stream literally all of next week or I might not stream at all next week. I'll figure it out over the weekend. But I'm definitely not streaming on tomorrow night or on Sunday night, which I usually do stream on those 2 nights. Let me take a look at the chat. Binance have taken my house and my wife. How long do you expect before crypto recovers and we go into a bull market? The thing is, crypto just came out of probably one of the most bullish markets that's ever been seen, ever. So, I mean, honestly, the Bailey, probably the most bullish market ever. I know there were a few crazy bubbles in the past, which I don't know the exact percentages of those, but so many altcoins went up 10x, 20x in the past few months. It's insane. We all know what Dogecoin did. We all know what Bitcoin has done from 10K about, when was it at 10K? Let's see. Really about 8 months ago to 60K. It just came out of an insanely bullish market. And now I have no clue. Can it be the end of this bull market? Yes. I don't know. Can it just be a pause in the overall trend to get a healthy pullback, reset all the oscillators, create new bullish patterns, and kind of stop the FOMO and all the high leverage traders? Sure. But the thing is, I can't really give you a probability right now because the technicals aren't really giving me one, right? So again, as a trader, you don't want to be forcing things. Sure, you might miss out on a few pivots, but your job is to identify where the probability is. Taking a long or a short right here on Bitcoin, in my opinion, based on high time frame technicals that I personally use, is a coin flip. Literally, you're in the middle of a support and a resistance. You're above the 30K support. You're under the 42K support. You literally have a indecision candle right over here. So for now, I'm just kind of hands off. And I definitely did miss a decent part of this crypto rally. But I was definitely there for the first few months of it. From really November, December, January, I was trading a lot of crypto. I was putting out a lot of crypto trades. And I kind of felt in February, I kind of felt in March that cryptos were just way too high. All the RSIs were like up here. And I was wrong there. They just kept going higher for another 2 months. And then eventually the nuclear RSIs and the 10x's in prices led to a 50% pullback on a lot of altcoins in one day. That's what happens when you go up 3,000, 4,000%. People are going to take profits at some point. People are not going to leave their money in forever. Most people aren't, at least. I know a lot of people are strong-handed and have those holding accounts, but a lot of people who got into the crypto market in the past few months got in to make a quick buck. And a lot of them did. And a lot of them made a quick buck, but never realized that quick buck. So that's just really where crypto's at right now. Let me look at it in the chat as well. The donut was great. I actually had 2. Well, I had half and half. Let's see. THBR. Yeah, we'll look at THB. I think we did, no? No, we didn't. Yeah, you gotta wait for until the probability comes into your favor, right? For right now, I just don't see major probability to either direction in crypto and on the stock market indices. The only place I really see good probability in right now is growth stocks and metals, but I don't really trade metals personally. Let's see. Bitcoin is bouncing a little bit kind of here. What else we got here? So yeah, we'll do ticker requests now. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you want to join premium alerts, the link is in the description. And yeah, let's get to it. If you want me to take a look at a ticker for you, drop them in the chat. Nothing I say is financial advice. And don't request something that IPO'd last week. Don't request something that was up 5,000% today. We'll take a look. In terms of growth stocks, I mean, really, if I'm going to be like straightforward, like just kind of high multiple, high potential speculation, newer stocks compared to large cap tech stocks, which would be kind of in a different area, as well as industrials. But if we're just going to talk about like how I'm currently looking at, a certain group of growth stocks, EVs, pot stocks, a few housing stocks like mortgage stocks and stuff like that, like SPG and PGRE, and what was the other one? What's the other one? I can't think of it right now. Where is it? I'm literally losing my mind. Not this. Oh, Las Vegas Sands. Yeah, that's the other one. So yeah, drop your tickers in the chat. We'll take a look. And let's do that. Fastly, AHT, AMC, BNGO. Let's look at HT first. Down 6% today. On the 4-hour. Wow, great. So this was a premium trade that got stop hunted, and it looks like it actually went to my initial target. Let me see if I could pull it up really quickly. That's pretty painful to watch. Would have been a huge trade as well. Yeah, I can pull it up right now. Let's take a look at this. This is AHT. It was shared with premium members last week at 290. The target was 374. Okay, so it would have not hit the target. It went up to about 340-ish. Oh, so bright. So it definitely is in profit since then. Then it pulled back to 301. It just got stop hunted with the market volatility last week. But at this point in time on AHT, you gapped down today. Had a pretty rough day. You're still above the 200-day moving average. You're still above May 17th candle lows. It kind of looks fine, but at the same time, like you're right in between a support and a resistance. If I'm gonna zoom out a little bit more, I mean, it just depends. You definitely are breaking out of this supply line. Honestly, you're kind of back testing it as well. It looks fine for right now, but I'm not too sure. if this is something where I would be trading at this current time. But you just want to hold above May 17th candle lows. Fastly broke a support and a big gap down, I think on earnings. And at this point in time, your resistance is 50 bucks. That's a psychological level. It was also your candle high on June 3rd of 2020. What? Okay. Let's do that. Pretty easy to do that. How do I reset? There we go. Crash. Boom. Okay, fastly. You're under 50. In terms of your closest support, if we zoom out, looking left, there's really not much until 35. So again, right in the middle of a support and resistance. Sure, you have some classic bullish divergence developing. Will it play out? I'm not too sure. You don't really have a structure, and there's not really anything looking left to really compare the current price to. So not something I'd currently touch like right now. Right after earnings too, I have no clue how that went, but people didn't react to them too well. It's just another one of those stocks that ran like crazy from Hofv crash up until about October. Well, really up until about February, and then ever since February, it's been on a very, very big downtrend. Kind of lagging behind a lot of other stocks that look like this. A lot of them have already started to do this. Oh, dude, great. To do that. Why can't I use this? Thank you. To do that, all right. Next one, did somebody type in AMC, or was that just there? Yeah, somebody did. So AMC broke out of a symmetrical triangle, went to the next resistance, pulled back at the resistance. Honestly, it really could have easily broken this level, and then you would have had nothing until $17 from this candle high and from this candle open. But you rejected it on a red day in the market, so pretty real pullback, gapped down, no bearish divergence, but again, like, you're in between support and resistance, not an area where I would be kind of in it. Maybe if you go to lower time frames, you could find something, but in terms of like a swing trade, I just see it as a 50-50 for right now. Yeah. BNGO. Not like an actual textbook harmonic, but an XABCD. Started reacting towards the demand line with some classic bullish divergence on the 4-hour MACD and on the RSI, but it's kind of like messed up here. So you had divergence at the demand line. You never even touched the 200-day moving average. You kind of had a fake out, got back inside. Today was down about 4%. You also have triple classic bullish divergence on the daily. All right, I mean, it's good. Was there a better entry area? Definitely. Is it at that area? Not too sure. I mean, just again, kind of right in the middle of a pattern, and not too much to really compare at this level. I mean, the next major support is 382. You even have a gap fill way lower, but you're well above that for right now, so I don't have to worry about it for right now. Look over here. DraftKings. Gotta get back above 44. That's the important level. Oh yeah, I wanted to look at Tesla. I don't know what you were talking about Wyckoff on, Chad. Let me know, like, the ticker. Cost 10-minute time frame? All right, we'll take a look. Just wanted to say thank you for all you do for the FTM and the stream. I've learned a ton. Glad to hear that, Barasan. Thank you for being an awesome premium member, for all the support you've sent. Appreciate it. And BlackBerry. What did BlackBerry go to? All right, that's okay. Let's look at cost first on the 10-minute for Neutron Flux Labs. Usually don't look at the 10-minute ever. And this is very, very tough to chart, at least with the data package. I don't even have a data package on TradingView, so like without a data package, super gappy. If this is what you want me to be looking at, I'm not too sure how to really chart this. I mean, it came down to a 786, so it would really be a butterfly if anything, and you're not at a PCZ for a butterfly. So not too sure there. We go over to the daily. Classic, well, not classic bullish divergence, just bullish convergence, higher low on price, higher low on the MACD. Still a little bit tough. I don't really see a huge technical indicator at this current point in time. Maybe it's kind of like a falling wedge. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 touches. Actually, you have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it could be a valid falling wedge, but just the candles are super gappy and stuff. Not my type of ticker. DraftKings, but feel free to let me know what you're seeing on it. DraftKings, I wanted to get back above 44. It was at the PCZ of a bullish bat and a bullish deep crab at the same exact time. I got a nice reaction off of it. I got into some calls that I share with premium members. They pretty much doubled in like one day. I think it was on Friday. And then it's just kind of been messing around ever since. Just kind of chopping around, up, down. Really tough to get a signal because, yeah, you bounce at the PCZ. You could double bottom there now. You could head back lower. You don't really have any divergence on the 4-hour or the daily. And then 44 is the important level that you're a little bit under. You could easily get back over. It was your candle low from January 5th and kind of your candle, well, it was your candle high on June 1st of 2020. Also your candle high on September 10th of 2020. That's the important level in my opinion. You want to get right back above. Solo did not get any reversal over here. It's not even really a textbook. I mean, it's pretty close to a bullish Garley. You're at the 0.678, not the 0.618, but you went to the 1.618 from B to D. Never got any reaction. Let's go over to the 4-hour. I mean, also like the oscillators looked fine. I mean, if you ignore this little MACD island in between, you could look at this as classic bullish divergence because of how small that MACD island was, but bring it a little bit lower. Not really at any official PCZ. I mean, I don't know. You're going to be stretching it to look like a harmonic here, so I'm just going to let's see if there's anything at this level. Well, you have this one kind of candle high from June 9th of last year. That's pretty much it. I'm not too sure about Solo. Don't see. It just doesn't look the same like it did a couple weeks ago. I think the market's just been kind of pushing it downwards, unfortunately. I know what Wyckoff distribution pattern is, Chad. If you're talking about Wyckoff distribution on EBON, I don't think you have Wyckoff distribution. And even if you did, you're well under a spring, which was 381. So yes, you could be faking out. You can get this classic bullish divergence can play out on the daily. You could rally and reclaim it. If you do reclaim 381, which is a whole dollar higher, then sure, anything can happen. But for right now, you're under that, and you do not have any support left under that level. In terms of the daily time frame, sure, you can use last week's lows at 236, but again, then you're going to be about 17% above that. You want to look at last week's lows as your support. So it could have been kind of distribution at one point, and again, I don't know what time frame you're looking at. Maybe you're just like zoomed in on the 1-hour chart and talking about like this, but not too sure there. Classic bullish divergence is on the daily. Don't know about a harmonic here. We can try. You have to ignore this and this, but if we anchor to A up here, again, super deep. The only thing you could really have is a deep crab, which you're not really at a PCZ for. So EBON, next one's Tesla. This was not a trade. I was just scanning, never put it out. Broke under the 200-day moving average. Still kind of around this level. I mean, it had a rough open. I guess it rallied with the market towards the end of the day, but not as much as you'd be hoping for. You technically still at the 886, but you did go quite a bit lower. So I don't know. It was just kind of like a bullish bat without any divergence. It got a reaction and then it kind of fell under. So I mean, 558 was your candle low on March 8th. you're above that, but other than that, I'm not too sure. The MACD looks fine on the 4-hour. It's not any divergence, but it looks like it's losing negative momentum. It's pretty close to going green if you get a nice move tomorrow or the day after. Gap to fill at like 576. We'll see what happens. BlackBerry broke out of a falling wedge. If we go to the daily, there's triple classic bullish divergence if you ignore this little one histogram bar. Pretty nice. I had some BlackBerry calls earlier in the week, made like 40%. I did take profits quite a bit early, but if you want to trade BlackBerry here, I mean, you bounce off the 200-day moving average. You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches in your falling wedge. You could just, if you want to enter on the back test, which is kind of already did back test at the open, I'd probably target the golden retrace right under it, and then throw my stop loss right under the 200-day moving average and this 770 support, which was your high on September 19th of 2019. I think that was pretty much about it. Just kind of bounced there last week, and then you would get a 2.5 reward to risk. It's not a 3, but it's pretty up there, and you're risking about 10% to try and make 26% if you manage your risk like that. That's BlackBerry. ZOM again. All right, we'll look at it. So above the 200-day move, like nothing has changed. I mean, yeah, it dropped 2% today. The market had a red day, but nothing's changed since last night or the night before, whichever night we looked at it. Maybe even both. Still have triple classic bullish divergence. You got a little bit of a bounce off the 200-day moving average. You're still under 88 cents. Pretty neutral in my opinion at this level. Sure, it could be double bottoming, but you want to reclaim 88 cents. If you do that, then there's low resistance until like 129 or around there. That's really it. You just gotta hold that 200-day moving average. Otherwise, you have a gap to fill at 50 cents. Futures still relatively flat. Bitcoin's 37K right now. SCSN. Downtrend break today. Nice move up 6%. Hidden bullish divergence is moving again. Like I said earlier, it's just not really my trade because of the risk to reward between the next resistance and next major support on the daily. So not really my area to be entering something. I'd obviously prefer over here, or even over here when that hidden bullish divergence was developing on the 4-hour MACD. But took out an overhead level at 280. I think you're talking about this. Yeah, you did have like a little pretty much handle high at 278 yesterday. You did take out yesterday's high. Your next, I guess, resistance area would just be this. Your highs from pretty much the end of April, beginning of May, just around $3. Also psychological level, I assume. You break that, then there's no resistance until 354. But again, like in my opinion, sure, you do have pretty good looking oscillators. It's just I don't see much of a pattern, just kind of range bound in the middle of a range. So yeah. AOSL had the breakout today. That quadruple classic bullish divergence was really good. Nice, it broke out. So if you did play it like this, like we talked about last night, I think you'd be in profit. I think I put the entry like right where it was. It was up 3% today. Nice start. Still has a lot to do, but like I showed last night, I just target right over here. 618 and the 786 because it's a pretty shallow falling wedge. It's not like a deep falling wedge where I would be targeting the 382 and the 0.50. But yeah, good start. Hopefully it does well. And yeah, I don't know. I think that's gonna be it for tonight. Pretty calm stream, nothing too crazy. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Not gonna be streaming for I don't even know until when. I'm gonna be taking a little bit of a break. Hope everybody has a good rest of the week in trading. I'll still be in the Discord. I'll still be putting out trades if I see something good. I'm just not going to really be streaming for probably 5-6 days. And then I'll be back. And probably the next time I'm streaming, I'll have a new overlay and everything. Also want to get the whole Discord updated and just start growing stuff again. If that makes sense, right? Been pretty stagnant the last couple of weeks, maybe last month. So if you haven't checked out the options video I dropped over the weekend, it was a 1-hour course, really crash course. It wasn't like a full-blown course by any means. That's like the third to last video on my channel. And yeah, hope you all have a great Thursday tomorrow. Trade safely. Thank you for coming out. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Appreciate all the support. Thank you, Cheddar Freeze. Thank you, Scrooge. Thank you, Thomas. And have a great night. Thank you, Barasan. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Please, like, correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, peace out, everybody.